Hi, good morning. I am Marisola Chirica. We need to honor our symptoms. That's why you need your nausea. Johan Hari, in his wonderful and recommended book Lost Connections, talks about getting intoxicated with apple covered with pesticides, ending up at a hospital in terrible pain. And the attending doctor told him that he wouldn't give any medication to stop the nausea because he needed the nausea to indicate where the problem was. When I was reading that, I remember when I was training for family therapist, and I read a vignette that explained how a newlywed wife felt nauseated every time her in-laws would pop up at their newlywed home without even announcing themselves, even on Sundays at 7 a.m. Like, oh, we brought breakfast. Hello, hello. And she started to feel nauseated because there was no medical problem, because the nausea didn't appear in any other moment. They understood it was a psychological problem, and that's why they ended with a psychotherapist. And because she wouldn't admit that she hated those surprise visits from her in-laws, the therapist just recommended that she needed her nausea and she shouldn't take any um, medication to stop it because it would have secondary effects, and she convinced her. What happened is that every time that her in laws, surprise, surprise, invaded their privacy without even asking or asking about their boundaries they needed as a new couple, she ended throwing up in front of her in laws every time. By the next consultation, her in laws' visits were significantly diminishing. What happened? Her in laws said, "Oh no, we are not going to visit them because this girl, every time we visit, she is sick at her stomach and she throws up and she's so disgusting." So the nausea was indicating that there was a doorway to set a boundary without getting in a fight with her in-laws. Maybe until their marriage was strong enough to set other kind of boundaries. Okay, by the way, so our nausea, our depression, our stress, our headaches, our tiredness, whatever you're experiencing as a symptom, Thomas More would tell you, let's honor your symptoms. The Jungian, I love Carl Jung. I'm a systemic psychotherapist, but I really fell in love with Carl Jung like 10 years ago because of this book of Thomas More called Care of the Soul. And in there, I learned for the very first time this in love approach with everything that happens in our lives without labeling it as positive or negative. That book, when I received it as a gift when I was very young, back in 2002, and I really didn't appreciate it. I think I was very young. But later on, after painful divorce, something in my soul precisely was calling for that book. And when I reread it again, then it made total sense to me. Taking care of your soul, taking care of your life, giving that gift for yourself, for your body, for your mind, for your plans, for your family, for the people around you. It implies honoring what happens in your day without classifying it as irrelevant or negative or positive. We just want to pay attention to the positive, to the success, to the money we earn, to the energy we feel, to the ideas that we had and were accepted. And then we are missing a great deal of our life and the gifts they are bringing to us. So, why don't we find out today what happens if we honor every aspect of our day? The water or the meal that spills over the table, um, the client that didn't show up for the appointment, mm, the thing that you forgot to bring for repair or to pick it up, whatever mistake you make, oh, too much salt in the food, or oh, I could have done this document in a better way, etc. Those things that we usually judge and discard and even reject with shame, with anger, or afraid. What happens if we bring them to the light, like our nausea, like our own private, personal nausea, and see to what it's indicating to? And I would like to hear from you in the comments if you really find out something and you have more questions. So, have a great day. Marisola Chirica, transmitting from Mérida, Yucatan, Mexico, from my private practice. I wish you a wonderful Tuesday.